Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Pangolin Advisor, also known as Panchasu, and welcome to my Hissho playthrough part 5. That was a rather unorthodox way of saying it. Anywho, the important thing is that from now on, all parts of the series will be posted exclusively on Pangolin Advisor channel, and no longer on my Panchasu channel. For the very simple reason that I believe by now everybody has gotten at the gist of it. Pangolin Advisor is the channel where you look for my Forex dedicated series where I put a lot of effort into them, or at least a decent amount of effort, whereas Panchasu is for random things and stream VODs most importantly. So, now that this distinction is made, let us continue playing since there are a lot of things that require and desire our attention. Firstly, a hero leveled up, who is always freaked out every time I click on her. She probably should get some help. Not that I judge, I've been there myself, but nevertheless, seriously, you don't need to freak out nearly as much. Next up, we've got the Preserve the Academy quest. Honestly, if I could choose, I would rather join the Voldiani fleets rather than stop them from destroying the Academy, but I understand that if I were to roleplay this, the Hissho by now they have no idea about anything and they probably enjoy all the benefits of working with, or rather alongside the Academy. The important thing is I can get some Hyperion for this quest and that is very good indeed. So let's try to, succeed in this quest, or rather at least be one of the top killers of Voldiani. Next up, I need to protect this system from enemy ships. Should be easy enough unless a scout pops by, which is possible. Some legendary deed has been completed by one of the enemy AIs, not a big problem. And finally, we have completed one of my faction quests, which gave me access to Koimachi Academy, a very useful system improvement which I'll make good use of. Finally, we've got a new quest called Retrench or Reform, and since somebody expressed desire for me to actually read this out, I am going to read this out. If you'd rather me just skip those main faction quests and move on, I can do that as well, but you can also, I suppose, move forward with this video. That's the beauty of YouTube. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and read this out loud. Is it blood pooling or the fallen maple leaves? This red of autumn. It seems that I have found the reformers' weakness, and they have found mine. They made the mistake of showing reverence for the endless, and holding them up as an example of the heights to which an empire can aspire. Technology, mastery, power. It is a seductive vision, but it is a vision that reminds me of our time of slavery, submission, and hopelessness. I am more than willing to spread this message. The reformers are picking up the mantle of our long-dead overseers. Their message is one of corruption and gluttony. They would not make blood sacrifices to Tonatsi, calling our powerful traditions barbaric. However, as our empire expands, there are a few of us who carry the messages of loyalty and tradition. The spread of our growth has outrun our ability to travel and train, and I fear that my cause will be lost in the increasing babble of billions of voices. The reformers are content to sit back and let the mathematics turn the tide in their favor. I do not sit back. Kachita himself said, when you appear weakest, attack. Pretty cool line, I would say. Well, a lot of lines in fact. I will add, however, the thing I like most about this quest, by the way, I do hate both of these rewards. I hate random technologies. But the thing I love most about this part of the quest is that, or rather Hissho in general, is that they're one of the very few factions that actually have a legitimate reason to work alongside the heretic and try to bring back the lost rather than side with the endless. I personally am a fan of the endless myself. I just find them to be way cooler than the lost. But, I mean, who else likes the Lost? The Unfallen, I believe, prefer the Lost as well. Who else? I would have to think about it. Anywho, Grand Battle on Nakos, I believe all there is left for me to do is blitz until I take it over, and hopefully it's going to happen soon. Obviously the enemy is drafting, but they can't draft forever. I do hope I can take it out, however, or take it over before they draft all the way down to one population or less.
I shall
Anywho,
defend the faith The church desires a tribute, I shall give it none, because why should I? And the voters and United Empire, I see. They have joined in an alliance. That was a mistake, but I suppose at the same time, both of them are already at war with me, so it matters not. Anywho, I'm going to refuse this truce. Now, I am afraid, and probably I have the right to be afraid, that my allies the Hissho will force truce on me and sign the deal behind my back and force me to stand down with my armies. Hopefully this will not happen, however, I have played in way too many games where it did, so I do not believe the AI not to take sides, or rather not to make the decision for its own. It does have a tendency of doing so. With that in mind, I will do my best to try and capture the enemy systems as quickly as it is humanly possible. Also, I'd like to select O and merge, thank you very much. And I can kill a random scout ship, so let's go ahead and do that, because hey, why not? It is a scout ship after all. Can we kill it? Not really, because it's going to run away like the coward it is. Except it was destroyed while it retreat. Wait, it did not even retreat, did it? That is unexpected, but I suppose that's alright. Anywho, let's protect Pleon, because the parts are coming back to haunt it. And before I deal with anything else, let's also make sure that all of my other ships are deployed in the appropriate places. And let us make sure that this United Empire patrol has also been destroyed. And we can again go for science from scrap. This behemoth should have no problems dispatching the enemy, or at least forcing it to retreat. Finally, there are some build orders to sort out. So Yidix, what can you do for me? I have a decent amount of ki, but not quite enough. However, I can make Koimachi academies, and they are very useful and powerful indeed. An expanded mine is again going to be very useful, since Hyperium is always in high demand until pretty much the end game, when, you know, when you can replace Hyperium with quadrilics. However, for the time being, Hyperium is pretty much invaluable. Now that Yidix has its order, Emacs requires some as well, and I believe a new fleet wouldn't hurt me, honestly. But for the time being, let us work on the Koimachi Academy and follow it up with... I could make some more ki. Or I could make a... I don't know, really. For the time being, I'll just make the Koimachi Academy and think about what I want to make on the next turn. Finally, Pleon itself requires order as well, and I'm going to explore the Cadre remains. Although it would be cheaper to create, you know, a... what is it called? Where is it to... oh, there we go. My scout ship, and make it explore the Cadre remains. Because it does actually cost less industry, and then I could send it to explore some other curiosities somewhere else, or just to scout around, so I'll do just that. Also, I'll colonize one more planet, because there is no reason for me not to do this, and then make a bunch of new improvements. Primarily the dust improvement, I believe, is most important, since I am still losing dust. I'm regaining it through Explosive War Act, but I am losing it nonetheless. Now, I was also thinking about changing my government. Republic and the Federation both have their pros and cons. Republic is particularly tempting because of its law effects intensification ability. However, I think I'll risk it with the democracy. Of course, the problem with democracy is that I cannot really influence the elections, so if militaries are out of the government, that is not too great, but I don't believe this can happen considering their support, since, I mean, look at their current support, it is humongous. Besides, I plan to continue being at war, which should continue raising the support for all the militarists. Moreover, I do want to have as many laws active as possible, and I will spend a lot of influence on those laws, so being able to save a little bit of influence on them seems like a pretty good idea to me. Besides, I don't feel like waiting. Sure, I wouldn't have to wait for long to change into a republic or a federation, but democracy seems just way more... not way more, but just somewhat more beneficial for me. So let us go ahead and validate that. I do also want to have 3 hero senators because they tend to have very powerful abilities, and this is perhaps one of the most powerful of best things about the democracy. Now, for the time being, however, the anarchy has begun because, well, why wouldn't it? I approve personally. Why not have people kill each other on the streets just because I want to have some radical changes in the government, right? Anywho, Varen actually has quadrinics, or orichalcics, and I should start to take note of those resources since I will need those for the obliterators, and I currently have no source of it. Also, Kras has a lot of very, very good things that I could potentially harvest. And of course there's also CRL 2688, which I definitely want to grab a hold of with my behemoths, since then I would be able to, you know, distill some strategic resources from it, and this would be the best. For the time being, however, let us end the 10, since it has been a rather lengthy one, I do admit. But a lot of things needed to be done, as I'm sure you'll agree with. Anywho, for the time being, a grand battle has started and it will continue for the time being, so let us hope for the best result. I don't think I can take it over, and the enemy will continue drafting and drafting and drafting forever, but they are dying faster than they are being recruited, so that is good. Also, I I made my own task easier by destroying the previous bunkers, which is good. Another diplomatic message. And they beg for help. Very well, I'll try to help them. I am already, in fact, sending ships. Not to help them per se, but maybe I'll distract the voters, which will be nice. I do need to try to aid the Croatia, because otherwise they will sign a peace treaty, which I don't really want to happen. Anywho, let us turn my TBUB into a citadel, as was promised. Except I do not have the Hyperion to do so, so I will have to wait or buy the Hyperion from somewhere. But that can wait. A battle against pirates has started, and latest political surveys says things that I don't care about since we're currently in the anarchy. Finally, a hero has leveled up, that's our Admiral. Fleet shield penetration ain't that bad, and it's pretty much the only thing I care about in this, although he is a senator, and having more manpower capacity is good, especially since one of our main faction quests requires that. Except I already finished it and gained myself unstable isotope machining, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. I am not too keen on that, honestly. I'd rather something else be discovered. That's why I really hate random discovery research rewards, since they are almost never worth it in my opinion. Now, however, the enemy strikes back, or rather the rebels strike back, so we're going to destroy them and destroy the attacking behemoth. In return I'll gain Behemoth Overdrive, which is pretty decent battle card. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst, and I do find myself using it from time to time. That's where the behemoth I need to destroy is for us right now, but I don't need to worry about it for the time being. I'll just find it one day and destroy it. Finally, I need to queue some things up in my research tree, and finally I have gained access to perhaps the most important era, the Obliterator era. Yes, that is how I am choosing to call it, since Obliterators are awesome, and I want them as quickly as humanly possible. Yes, gaining more CP is also insanely important and very powerful. It allows your fleets to be all that much more useful, but it can wait, whereas the Obliterators, I can make them and they can start charging up their fire, which is very important and very nice. With that in mind, I can now activate the Way of the Obsidian Eagle on one of my behemoths, after making sure I turn the other one into a citadel. Because keep in mind, citadels don't actually have the key radius zone, the red thing you can see over here. So if I were to target a behemoth and turn it into a citadel, then I would lose the key radius zone. So anywho, let's see if I can buy some Hyperion. I have a lot of money, I don't see this being a problem. Well, I can't buy enough, but buying some will speed the process up a little bit. I might also choose to buy some antimatter and adamantium. They're relatively cheap and they're fairly important for me to have, so I'm going to grab them. And finally, quadrinics and orichalcics, always fun to have, always hard to get as well, so I will grab both of these and as many of them as humanly possible. It did cost me a pretty penny, but I believe it was worth it. Finally, I can sell some random stuff. I'm not sure what though. I'll wait for some kind of market event that will allow me to do just that. How much Hyperion am I gaining per turn? Not enough is the answer. That's probably because I have actually killed up the Koimachi Academy, which does require quite a bit of Hyperion to be made. That was my bad, I did not notice how much I'm spending on those. But thankfully my Hyperion income should be increased shortly. Now as for my plants, there is a subterranean curiosity, which is interesting and intriguing. Let us... For the time being, I might consider... No, there is no reason to go for Ancestral Reverence, really, is there? I'll just make a scout ship to explore this curiosity. And then follow it up with I have no idea what else. But a kite will never had. Neither will two of them. Now, as for Emics, again, it's the same thing. I could use some more Hyperion though. That is currently my biggest issue. Pretty much the only issue as well. I was making a mining behemoth, I forgot about that. Right? That's what I'm making, right? Yes, it is. Well, a mining behemoth will be mighty useful, except there's a pirate base over here in the system that I wanted to exploit. Oh well, I can deal with that in a second. For the time being, I should probably create... No, I have ships that... attacking ships that don't use Hyperion, but I need ships with engines that don't use Hyperion. I suppose I could just design hawks to have an engine and fly around and destroy things, but this would be a very inefficient thing to do, and I just hate the very idea of it. The very notion just fills me with... I don't know what, but I don't like it. I don't like what it fills me with, which also sounds somewhat wrong. Anywho, I have no idea what the system could do for me at this point, but I suppose Feudal Foundation isn't that bad. At the same time, I could just wait for it to be improved, so I'd rather not do it. I can make a bunch of industrial zones for the time being, since I'm not making Feudal Foundations or anything like those. And then I can follow it up by making a bunch of kites. You know, just to have more kites to send to somewhere else later down the line. Also, I could retrofit them somewhat, couldn't I? I believe I do have better weapons now. Although they're... They are actually starting to get better than my titanium weapons. They lack the critical the critical hit chance, which is something I should probably keep in mind when making the decision, but they're still better and they do save titanium, so I will exchange my weapons somewhat. Also, I can now grab the basic Hell Array Laser, which is somewhat tempting just to have a little bit of energy weapons mixed in with my regular weapons, but since I have the kinetic intensifier, I will do none of that. Finally, I can increase the power of these, so I can auto design to increase the power of my defensive modules, and as for my supportive modules, nothing else can be added, but this is already a fairly powerful ship. Let's also do the same thing with Falcon, change its weapons into something that's actually more powerful and doesn't require as many resources. As for its other modules, let's auto-design to make sure they are up to par and up to snuff. Up to code, you could say. And I don't believe the ship actually does need the adamantium jammer, now that I think about it. It wasn't a bad idea, but those ships were barely ever targeted. Well, probably because of the adamantium jammer, sure, but this is a costly improvement to have. I think I'd rather give the ship something else to make it a little bit better in combat, since it already costs so much Hyperium, it might as well pull its weight. Or be more defensive, but I'm not sure what I could do to help it with that, other than nano-repair bots, which are just flat out not the best. I could, however, get the advanced support siege module, which isn't that bad, especially against the Vultures. Then again, I am planning to blow the Vultures up. And of course, basic flotilla shield. It is an awesome thing to have, but it does cost Hyperion, so again we found ourselves in the same place. I might give it basic railgun, which is just a bad idea, or you know what, I'll give this guy the basic Hell Ray Laser, just to have a little bit of energy weapons, just in case the enemy has a lot of armor, but not a lot of shielding. And with that in mind, I don't really see the need to do anything with the Kestrel, but I will auto-design it to be a little bit better and also save me some money as well, I suppose. That is always good. And with that in mind, I am now going to annoy everybody by requeuing the kites, since I really should do just that and not make the old outdated versions, which are still very powerful and rather useful, but not quite as much. Also, the new kinds, I feel like they cost less industry now, which would be interesting, but I didn't check really. I could have, but I failed to, so whatever. Okay. Some fleets require others to be, well, you're going to wait 110 to become a citadel, or maybe a bit more than 110. Depends. If I have 0.5 Hyperion, 24.5, then I will have enough for a citadel. Meanwhile, over here, let us just go ahead and destroy some civilian ships because I enjoy doing so. And I continue besieging this area. And I could retrofit this fleet but this would cost me way too much and wouldn't really be worth it. Let's just gunplay on for the time being. Or actually go over to Conquest and grab the enemy ships, destroy them and gain resources from it. Moreover, somewhere there are Lost Horatio that are being attacked. I cannot retreat, I'll have to get them killed because if I do retreat, well, then I would lose key, and it's a much better idea in my opinion to just lose a scout ship rather than lose key. With that in mind, I can now end the turn. And finally, drink some tea, and now, ladies and gentlemen, our very first democratic election. Well, let's see what happens. I don't believe I need to vote for the militarists, they're going to win the election no matter what. So who else do I want? The religious party would surely get some heroes, I believe, that I have that would get into the Senate with the religious party added. So also admit and improve is a very, very powerful bill. But I not one that I necessarily need. My heroes and ships are already rather powerful, boosting them would be potentially an overkill. Industrialists are what I desire most, perhaps, because of its ability to increase my strategic resource generation. And scientists aren't the worst either because of... Nah, they're not the best either. And pacifists are people I don't want in my government because I don't like pacifism. And finally, ecologists, who cares about them? Like, no. Industrialists are the ones I will officially support. I do wonder who will win. I really don't have that many systems, do I? I thought I have more, but that's just because of how humongous this galaxy map is. Anywho, I'm not sure if the industrialists will make it, but they did, thankfully. It looks like pacifists were voting for both them and the religious party, which I am happy about. So with that in mind, now I have another hero who's going to allow me to have more behemoths in my government, which is a very, very fun and nice thing to have. And the industrialists also made it into the government, who allow me to mine more resources, which is also very important. So, force law activated, well, it's the same one I already had activated. And market-wise price increase, alright. We're going to abuse that by, oh wow. And AIs are buying things, which is kind of unexpected. Well, if you're buying, I'm going to be selling. Oh, they are buying heroes. Right, I could buy heroes myself. I'm going to do that, because heroes are fun. Let's see, I can get Scales Galena. I haven't ever had her, actually. It. I don't know what are you? You are a... Ha! This is the first time I probably guess somebody's gender. I'm so very happy. Anywho, let's see, what can she get? She's a scavenger. They are meh. They're actually, yeah, they're meh. I don't have that much of a foreign population. But the Joy Initiative is an amazing thing to have, so I'm very tempted to have her. Alternatively, a new Fleet Admiral wouldn't be bad, but a Chancellor from Vodiani isn't exactly the best for the job. Although the righteousness of the Ordained, I mean, it is a pretty good one to have. Like, ridiculously good thing to have. And he would also make for a very good senator. Like, the Vodiani themselves are very good, and he would be... He is a tempting one, isn't he? But he does favor energy weapons, and I'm not using a whole lot of those. I'll buy Scales Galena for a lot of dust, but I believe I can afford it without too much of an effort. And can I, or should I sell in an instance? Yes, because I have no income of it, and it's probably going to give me a lot of dust. And it did indeed give me a lot of dust, which is excellent. Now I'm going to also buy myself one more, not one more Hyperium. Except there is one on the marketplace. Hey Horatio, can you be useful for once, since you never really gave me anything when you signed this alliance with me. Except I know you're drawing all the firepower from the voters, but can you please give me one Hyperium? Only one, that's literally all I need. I can't even give you a ton of influence just to get it. Wow, really? What if I sweeten the deal somewhat by giving you... No, I'm not going to give you a planet, don't be ridiculous. I can give you 20 red sank. How do you feel about that? That's a very good deal. Okay, well I guess he just doesn't really... What are the suggested tests? You have got to be kidding me, no! How about I ask somebody else rather than my own ally who doesn't want to give me one Hyperium? Like, this is just ridiculous. What does she want? Also a humongous amount of dust, very well. What do the Sophos want for Hyperium? I'm not going to spend thousands and thousands of dust just to get one Hyperium, let's not be ridiculous. Okay, apparently people are really overestimating the worth of Hyperium. Well, it is very valuable, but the AIs have hundreds of it, and I would expect my allies to at least lend me some. Well, this only will make me feel less awful for when I actually decide to blow them up, and trust me, I will. Now I have the conviction to do that. Also, I need to make sure my mining behemoth does stop by so that it can give me some adamantium with its mining probes. Very well, now as for my hero who leveled up, I can... What shall I have her do? There are not that many things I desire, but having more dust is certainly not a bad thing at all. So how about you give me more dust? I won't complain about that. Some other hero is still freaking out, which is very... I mean, it's fine, I don't mind. How about you give me more influence? That's not a lot of influence. How about you give me more industry? That's not a lot of industry. I would rather have the extra influence at this point. Alright, and finally we've got one new hero who looks really, really awesome. And I'm going to have her be my governor, as I... No! Was she supposed to be a governor? Yes, she was supposed to be a governor. So I'm going to give her the ability to give me more influence and a bit more of both industry and food, since these are always fun to have. And I will assign her to I don't know where yet. I'll decide that once I see what my systems are good at. There's a very big gap between those systems, but it's probably also because of the hero, most likely. That has to be taken into account. That being said, Mataka does have the opportunity to have a hero and actually be good with it. So let us give it a hero, shall we? Nice and easy. Although I probably should have put the hero at Pleon, since Pleon is actually still making more improvements and could help me level up this hero the fastest. But oh well, hindsight is always 2020. Finally, what I can do is move my fleets as I wanted to. Some effect ended, and I can convert food into dust, which I'll happily do, since I'm not really trading with anything, and I don't need the food all that much at this point. I'd rather have more dust, and I'm now actually positive on dust, which is also marvelous. Now, ground battle on Nekos, which will happen and last forever, unfortunately, unless I find a way to boost the power of my tanks, but for the time being that doesn't seem to be the case, and the enemy keeps drafting, and I keep being unable to destroy and overpower their defenses. That is unfortunate, but what can you do? Now, next up, I'm going to enact some laws, and a lot of laws will be enacted. The Spoils of War is the first one. I'll follow it up with Mineral Miles Act, a very powerful and important law to have, since I need more resources. And finally, let's see, do I care about species stability? Not necessarily, it would give me a lot of dust, but it's not that useful. Us or Them, however, is an incredibly powerful ability, so how about we activate it? And now I'll know I'll have to deactivate it, since I can't possibly afford it. That is indeed a shame. Oh well, I'll change it next time. For now, I'm going to make some extra stuff because of it, I suppose. Then again, there are not that many things I even need to do, so that wasn't all that necessary. Not very well spent, not a very good way to spend my influence. But such is the way of things sometimes, I suppose. Anywho, I discovered Eternal Sunshine. That is absolutely amazing. Even this late into the game, I'm not going to just, you know, be a snob and be displeased with this event. Oh. This scout ship also needs to discover a curiosity. Hopefully it's going to be a very good resource, and a very good resource it is. I'll never say no to quadrinic, since I will need to use it to fire my obliterators. And now you just say you can just explore the unknown and then explore the unknown some more. Meanwhile, my behemoth is still on its way. Anybody else that requires orders? Well, I have now begun the siege of Libra. And also are going to destroy this patrol ship that really shouldn't be here. But I suppose it is now not going to be here anymore, since it's going to run away. I'm not going to begin the invasion, this would be a futile attempt. Or I could just bombard this place just once to soften the enemy up a little bit. Perhaps, if I manage to destroy one of their improvements. But it is the voters, most likely I won't destroy anything. And indeed I did not, because again it is the voters. Let us retreat. I did force them to draft. That's the best I can get for the time being. And I just created a no man's land. Oh, alright. So be it. No man's land it is. I'm battled curious. Let's show the location and let us go ahead and declare the battle. And it's going to be the very first battle we watch during this video. So hopefully it's going to be a fun one. Although the enemy, oh yeah, that's the fleet I almost destroyed last time. I believe 2 flotillas are more than enough to destroy them. And yes, I will go for science from scrap, just for a little bit more science. More science is always good, isn't it? Allows you to get more obliterative technologies faster, and after all, that is all we care about. Blowing up half the galaxy so that the remains of the galaxy are the only place where you can live, and they also belong to us. That's the best result you can hope for. Let's skip to action and see the enemy ships be just absolutely obliterated in pretty much no time, except the auto camera, as always, is pointing at the wrong thing. If there is one thing I wish for, it's for the auto camera to be better, but I do admit, and I don't mean to, you know, for this to be a criticism of Amplitude Studios, programming a good auto camera is very difficult. I believe the best space game that I ever saw pull off the auto camera relatively well was Star Wars Empire at War. It had a decent auto camera, it usually followed the action. Better than in Endless Space at least. That being said, even that camera wasn't the best, so it is sometimes very difficult to get it to be just as good as you'd like it to be, unfortunately. Well then, let us keep moving with all my stuff, and that is actually it. I only have TBUB, which I still cannot deploy, so it's going to wait for one more turn, and a lot of systems require orders. So how about you prepare industrial zones, since I am not going to use key for industrial, for Futy Foundation. At least not yet. I could begin working on a behemoth, but you can only make a behemoth in a single system, so that would be a little bit of a waste. Let's make some defensive improvements, just in case the enemy ever counterattacks me. Meanwhile, my home system I'm just going to get more dust, because I don't really see anything else I would need to get, honestly. Although I could get more key, which I don't believe to be a very bad thing at all. Emacs can also give me a bit more key, since it's also almost maxed out on population, so how about you grab that? And those ships can defend Emacs for the time being, because why not? Is that everything I needed to do? I believe it is, so let's go ahead and end the turn. Very well. Outpost maxed out on Ibella. I still will most likely not turn Ibella into a full-fledged colony, because it will cost me... well, it only costs 15 key. That is acceptable. I will turn it into a colony, and I will start growing it as quickly as humanly possible. And when I'll move the Scales Galena to this system so that she can help it grow a little bit faster. So, battle on Nakos. Let's see if I can actually overpower the enemy defenses. Unfortunately, I cannot. I wish I were able to do so. Electromagnetic shield has been destroyed, but they still cling on to life. Why won't they die already? Is something I don't get. If I were them, I'll die. Well, most likely not, but I'm not them, and they are them, so how about they die? That would make me the happiest. Anywho, let's go ahead. Oops, wait. Are these the probes that deplete planets? I believe they are, aren't they? Let me just confirm that real quick. Mining Behemoth. Edit. Yes, those are the probes that deplete planets. And it's a system I just colonized. Oops. Thankfully, there is a cure to planets being overexploited. And the cure is right over there, and I already researched it. Wait, that's climate and engineering, I believe. Yes? No? Maybe? Or it's over here? Yeah, it is. It's advanced climate engineering that I will need. Well, I was planning to grab Behemoth Advanced something. Probably Advanced Climatology, yes, that's how it's called. So, it's alright, I will grab it at some point nevertheless, or rather nonetheless, or rather none of these words actually fit. Anywho, I will stop babbling and create a citadel, because it's about time I have it. It won't help me a great deal, but a citadel will be fun, nonetheless. And let us finally activate the Way of the Obsidian Eagle boost of my systems. And also continue fighting wherever it is possible. Also, I have no idea why I haven't sent any probes to scout out the near areas of the galaxy, since this will allow me to plan for the invasion a little bit faster and know what awaits me and know where I should head to destroy the enemy. So with that in mind, let's see. The enemy wants me to attack Lyra. It's amazing that they don't beg me to help them defend Pavo, but I suppose Hissho are tougher than they look, aren't they? Another fleet requires orders, that's fine, and finally one more fleet requires orders, and that's the mining behemoth which I'm going to send over to Janus to grab some extra Hyperium. And with that done, I could invade Quoius just to get some more resources. But Quoius is a good source of keys, so I'm not going to bother invading it out as it stands right now. Emex requires orders, it can just go for another blood ritual. It's always fun to have more key. I can deploy those kinds because there's no reason not to. And now that I have Quadrinix in here, I'm going to prepare miners in an expanded mines. Even though I cannot extract this resource yet, it's still going to be useful to be able to grab it later down the line when I actually am able to mine it. Speaking of which, I probably should queue it up, as I should do with crust engineering. Finally, is there anything else I need to do? Well, Ridge requires some orders, so I could create another behemoth that will become my first obliterator, provided that I'll have the resources for it to become an obliterator in the first place. Let's see, do I need any other behemoth? Well, a scientific behemoth wouldn't hurt, especially if I could use it to also fix Sibella. For the time being, what I am going to do is just wait, because I cannot even create a scientific behemoth yet that is going to have what I desire to have, so I'll just wait and create a few more ships that are just going to be there for the sake of being good ships. So 2 more kites, because why not? Actually, I can now have more than that, can't I? Nope, not yet, I have to wait. That is unfortunate. Well, I'll just create more kites, and more, and more. Well, that's enough kites as it is for one turn, I suppose. I could also just go for a blood ritual, but a bunch of kites sounds like a very tempting idea. But you know what, no, I will make the Coin Match Academy and a bunch of defensive improvements. And then a blood ritual will also be commenced. Just because there's no reason to make kites when, well, there's simply no reason to make them, I suppose. And I'll fly them to Ibera very slowly, but they will be able to defend it should any enemy come. Also, I forgot to deactivate my law, which is an accident, and I'll certainly do it right now. And in fact, the law was automatically cancelled, so yeah. It still shouldn't be cancelled, I still could have had it for one more turn, so I don't really get it, but so be it. Anywho, what am I going to enact now? Brains of Backs is probably what I'm going to go for. And finally, can I please take over Nakos? No, I cannot. This system just doesn't want to fall, and I'll destroy every single improvement it has before I take it. It's so very annoying. But there is also literally nothing I can do to fix the situation, which is again somewhat annoying. My hero has leveled up, which is nice. I'll give her more ability to do things, and I don't believe I can reassign her to Bella just yet, can I? No, I cannot. When will I be able to? In 2 turns. Huh. Alright, I will wait, I suppose. Finally, is there anything else I need to do? Well, so far battles are being won, and the enemies are being found, or rather civilians are being found that I can destroy and loot. Which is always fun, isn't it? And the edicts require some orders. How about you give me a little bit more key? The more key, the merrier. And I don't necessarily care for my citizens. I do have this thing active right now, the Internal Sunshine, which does indeed give me some extra food generation, which is nice. Emix requires order as well. You can also give me more key, and let us end the turn. Alright, what do we have now? Battle against pirates at Choirs is about to commence. Excellent, that will give me a few more resources, so we're going to watch that in a second. Firstly though, I do want to conquer the enemy system, and finally we did it. Nakos is ours, as it rightfully should be. We're obviously going to occupy it, as we will do with every single system we have, because we are the Hissho. We don't do anything other than occupy systems. Is there anything that survived our bombardment in the system? Indeed, in fact it is the Academy Embassy, a very useful thing to have. And since the final quest for the Academy has not started yet, I will gladly make good use of this thing. It is an expensive structure to upkeep, but I do not mind in the slightest. Let us make the system be a little bit better for the time being, however. Let it grow a little bit. Let it grow. Let it grow. I shall not sing that song, don't worry. I was about to, but I stopped myself. The days of singing on this channel are long gone, and bless those who still remember those. Those were the dark days. Anywho, market-wide price increase. Can I make good use of this? Well, I'm probably never going to use Blue Cap mode, and I have a very good income of red sank, so let's sell all of it as well, because why not? And now I'm filthy rich. I always am, but now I'm even more so filthy rich than before, which is absolutely excellent. The quest for Dust to More Dust has begun. If selling Fingers of the Marketplace counts, then I am well on my way to winning this thing. And Endless Foundries is a cute resource indeed, but I care more about the influence, to be entirely honest. New event progress. I do not like this one that much, but it only affects Yibella. Well, Yibella needs to grow fast, so it's fine if it doesn't have a lot of science. Besides, I do want the industrialist party to be supported as well as they possibly can get. Now, I know I conquered the enemy system, that's obviously... The soft ones are cordial because I had their enemies. Well, you're not going to be cordial for much longer, since I'm most likely going to go after the soft ones and Lumeris soon afterwards. But at this point in time, I would like to grab Yukara if possible. So let us improve my ships. I have the dust to do so, so there's no reason not to. I can even improve my hero ship. So let us auto-design it and get it a little bit some better stuff. So let's change its weapon designs to get better lasers. Let's give it... I'm not going to give it Hyperion Shield. I need to make sure I have as much Hyperion as possible. This is a decent enough design. Let's go ahead and make good use of this hero and move in on Yugara and take it for ourselves. Whereas this fleet will continue protecting Nakos. Excellent. Let's move all of my other ships, nice and easy. Oh hey, there is a fortress behemoth. Well, I believe mine is probably more powerful, so it should be fine. And also the citadel has been deployed in all of its glory. I do love the way it looks. Citadels are really well made in this game. Anywho, one of my fleets has finished exploring the galaxy. I beg to differ. I bet there are some more things you can find for me. Finally, a battle against pirates. It is yet to begin. So how about I make it begin? Science from scrap. It is going to be a worthy thing to have. And you know what? I don't need no ships in the upper area. I believe having ships in the middle flotilla will be good enough. Even if the enemy puts the jaw in the upper area, I have a lot of flak to deal with the enemy missiles, so it should be fine. And I'll celebrate this battle by drinking some more tea. Oh, that is right. Something that I keep forgetting to do is that I should try increasing the volume of sound effects in battles so that perhaps we can hear the effects from further away. Because I am now using a suppressor to guarantee that if too much damage, not too much damage, if the volume from the game itself is too high, then it will be lowered while it is being recorded, so you don't necessarily get deafened by the explosions. So with that in place, I should give it a go. Anywho, I'm going to be done with this battle, which gave me a lot of resources, and I'll keep those guys on Curious to keep mining key from the pirates. And my key is so very high that on Ridgel I can go ahead and make more Filthy Foundation. That being said, I'd rather wait to get Filthy Institute, but I might as well get Filthy Foundation for the time being, since there's little else I can do with it at this point in time. Alright, anything else I can do before I end this video? Well, I can kill some civilians, which is always the best thing you can do in any video game. It is so very fun to do, unless you're trying to play as the good guy, I suppose, but I never pretended, not even for a second, that I'm the good guy. I am clearly the scourge of this universe, the plague, the horror, the one that kills all. And why can I not make this fun? Why does it cost this much Hyperium? I should probably change that. I cannot maintain this incredibly high Hyperium cost. Well, if I read... I could remove one H fleet in test fire. And just replace it with... hold on a second. Move it like here and give the ship one more projectile defense, just to make it stronger. And then it's going to be cheaper to make falcons, I suppose, which isn't a very bad thing indeed. And then I can make a few kites as well, just to have more ships for when I actually can get more command points. Which I'm waiting for and still don't have, because I have a lot of other things queued up. Yeah, a whole lot of other things. So how about I make things be researched faster by getting F Reality Institute? Gamma absorption is important, but I need more science first and foremost, and then I need Behemoth Advanced Technology. In fact, I might want it faster, just like I said, a Behemoth to start heading for the neutron star I saw in the distance. And then I can get more ships in a fleet, and then I can get crust engineering, and this will take me a very, very long time to research. Meanwhile, I'm going to grab even more key, although this system is still growing, so I shouldn't do what I'm doing, but I don't feel too bad doing so since... well, what else can I do? I can't make obliterators just yet. I can't keep making kites, I suppose, so I might as well do that. And also I could make sure that they are on a high level as well, just so that they are a little bit more powerful when they are, you know, when they fly out of from the dock. And now I can end the turn, and I suppose I can also end this video. So ladies and gentlemen, it was Pangolin Advisor, also known as Panchalsu. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you online. Provided that no interesting notification will pop out that will require our immediate attention, but it doesn't look like it is the case. So again, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you, well, the next time I see you. which is probably never, because I just make videos, I don't see you, or do I? Anywho, I'm gonna go now. Bye.